The rain fell softly that night, as if the sky itself was whispering secrets. Aisha stood by the window, her fingers wrapped tightly around a cup of tea that had long gone cold. Her eyes weren't on the rain. They were lost, somewhere far deeper. 3 years. 3 years since everything was taken from her. Her trust, her dignity, her future. And the man responsible? He was thriving. Back then, Aisha was known as the most hard-working girl in her office. She had joined the company with dreams in her eyes and honesty in her heart. Everyone respected her, except one man, Raza. He was charming on the outside, but inside he was something else entirely. Manipulative, calculating, dangerous. At first it was small things. Credit for her work slowly shifting toward him. Meetings where her ideas were dismissed, only to be praised when repeated by him. She noticed it. Of course she did, but she stayed quiet, because she believed hard work would speak louder. She was wrong. One night changed everything. It was a late shift. The office was nearly empty. Aisha stayed back to finish a project, one she had worked on for weeks. Raza walked in, that smile again, the one that never reached his eyes. He praised her work, something he had never done before. For a moment, Aisha felt seen, but that moment didn't last. By the next morning, everything was destroyed. The project, her project, was presented to the board by Raza. Not just that. He accused her of stealing company data, fake emails, edited files, false evidence, everything. Perfectly planned. Aisha tried to defend herself, but no one listened. Why would they? Raza was powerful, influential, and she, just another employee? She was fired, disgraced, humiliated, and just like that, her life collapsed. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Aisha disappeared from everyone's life.
People forgot her.
But she didn't forget. Not the betrayal, not the lies, not the look on Raza's face when she was escorted out. That look of victory. But pain does something strange to people. It either breaks them or transforms them. Aisha chose the second. 3 years later, a new city, a new identity, a new Aisha. She had rebuilt herself from nothing, studied relentlessly, learned skills no one expected, cybersecurity, data analysis, corporate law. She didn't just grow, she evolved. And she had one goal, not anger, not revenge in the usual sense. Justice, calculated, precise, unavoidable. Meanwhile, Raza had climbed higher. Promotions, recognition, power. But people like him always make one mistake. They believe they're untouchable. Aisha didn't rush. She watched. Carefully, silently, like a shadow. She studied his company, his habits, his weaknesses. And then she made her move. It started small. Anonymous reports, tiny inconsistencies in financial records. Nothing big enough to raise alarm. Just enough to plant doubt, Raza noticed. Of course he did. But he dismissed it. Overconfidence, his biggest flaw. Then came the second phase. A whistleblower email, sent to the board. Detailed, precise, damning. Evidence of internal fraud. Money being redirected. Documents altered. All pointing to Raza. This time the board couldn't ignore it. An investigation began. Quietly, carefully. Raza started to panic, but he didn't know where it was coming from. That's what terrified him the most. Aisha watched from a distance, not smiling, not celebrating, just waiting. Because this wasn't about destroying him quickly. It was about making him feel exactly what she felt. Confusion, fear, helplessness. The investigation dug deeper and deeper, until the truth started to surface. Not just recent fraud, but past actions. Old cases, including Aisha's. The same fakey emails, the same manipulation. This time analyzed properly. This time seen for what it really was, a setup. Raza was called into a meeting. For the first time in years, he wasn't confident. He was sweating, stumbling over his words, the control he once had, slipping away. And then, the final moment, the door opened. A woman walked in, calm, composed, powerful. Aisha. Raza froze. His face turned pale. You Aisha didn't smile, didn't show anger, just looked at him. Steady, unshaken. "You remember me," she said quietly. The room was silent. The board members looked confused. Raza tried to speak, but no words came out. Aisha placed a file on the table. Every piece of evidence, every lie he had told, every move he had made, exposed. "This," she said, "is the truth you buried. And today, it comes back." The investigation concluded within days. Raza was fired, blacklisted. Legal action followed. His reputation destroyed. But here's the twist. Aisha didn't feel happy. Not the way people expect in revenge stories. No laughter. No dramatic victory. Just peace. Because revenge wasn't the goal. Closure was. And she finally had it. Weeks later, Aisha received an offer. From the same company, not as an employee, but as a consultant. Respected, trusted, valued. She stood again by a window. Rain falling, just like before. But this time, she wasn't broken. She wasn't lost. She was stronger, wiser, unstoppable. And somewhere, in a quiet, empty room, Raza sat alone, thinking about the moment he thought he had won, not realizing that was the moment he had already lost.